You have a document open, 17 tabs of research, a color-coded to-do list, and a detailed plan for a plan, and you have not started yet. This state is a sophisticated biological safety loop, a form of self-sabotage that mimics productivity while avoiding the actions that matter. Analysis paralysis traps the prefrontal cortex in a recursive evaluation loop. It demands more data, refusing action until every variable is simulated. In reality, your brain decides within minutes, but the cortex forces the simulation to keep running, absorbing infinite what-ifs. This intense preparation is a state of neurological paralysis disguised as hard work. Our biological reward system makes this loop feel productive. We often think of dopamine as a reward for finishing a task, but it is actually a hormone of anticipation. This chart compares work versus research. Planning provides a reliable dopamine hit because the reward is certain. Execution carries the threat of failure, making its reward volatile. Your risk-minimizing brain naturally routes away from the stress of action and toward the safety of researching. This was an evolutionary advantage when avoiding uncertainty meant staying alive. In the information age, that same protection system has become a prison. The feeling of progress you get while planning is a neurochemical deception. Your brain is choosing low-risk dopamine over meaningful output to protect itself. While you are stuck in research mode, your default mode network is running at full power. This is the brain's internal simulator, typically active during inward focus and mind-wandering. In this state, the network projects negative outcomes and calculates the exact effort a task will require before you even begin. The more you think about starting, the more difficult the task actually feels. This process has a physical cost. Your prefrontal cortex burns glucose for every simulation it runs. As energy drains, the amygdala flags the exhausted state as a threat, locking down the cognitive system and dropping a structural barrier over forward action pathways. The more time you spend preparing, the less biological energy remains to actually start. The feeling of being ready is a biological myth. Your brain uses metabolic fatigue to keep you in a permanent state of safe, consequence-free preparation. Willpower is useless against an autonomic neural loop. To break the cycle, you have to hack the circuitry structurally. You can preload action using implementation intentions. Instead of a vague goal, use a specific if-then protocol. If I sit at my desk, then I will open the file and write one sentence. This bypasses the need for the prefrontal cortex to make a decision in the moment. You also need bounded uncertainty. Give your prefrontal cortex a non-negotiable time stop on research. Setting a hard research deadline signals a completion state to the brain, allowing the loop to disengage. Then use the 2-minute rule. Committing to just 2 minutes of a task registers as too small for the amygdala to flag as a threat. Once you begin, physical momentum overrides the initial resistance. Finally, use episodic future thinking. Vividly imagine the specific sensory experience of being totally finished, the relief, and the final result. This activates your reward circuit and gives the brain a biological reason to move towards execution. These methods work by systematically disarming your brain's internal threat and energy monitoring alarms. The final step is to reduce information input immediately before you begin. Close the tabs and stop consuming. Every new data point creates another variable. Your brain will always calculate planning as safer than executing. This means the perfect conditions for starting will never arrive. The space between knowing and doing is a measurable neural gap. Because biological readiness is an illusion, the only way to close that gap is to execute before your brain realizes